opportunity to do input on those advocacy plans, as well as receive every time report of those meetings and other actions, of course. There's not only meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kana, this question is, do you have any plan to increase the impact of IFMSA external affairs, not only on social media and in capacity building, but regarding the topics we advocate on?
Is it working?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for your question. So firstly, how I believe, besides the examples that you mentioned, how we can increase our visibility and impact is firstly being present at various events, meeting, engage with our relevant stakeholders, and there when we are present, being vocal and advocate about the topics that are relevant for us. So youth voices are actually being heard. Also strategically make opportunities, because when it comes to external affairs, a lot of times, even though we have like stable opportunities, there are really new opportunities or specific opportunities that happen like from term to term and do not often repeat. So we have to use them really, really wisely. And I would also say make a sustainable approach to external affairs. Like we really have to make our internal procedures sustainable in terms of, for example, research framework, policy implementation and follow-up. Because if our internal procedures are sustainable and in order, we can maximize also their implementation.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are moving on now to VPCB candidate Ahmed. Your question is, what are your plans to reduce bureaucracy in CB procedures?
Okay, so I do believe CB procedures have been outlined really well and really nicely. And throughout the steps of it, there's a lot of bureaucracy, obviously, as this question mentions, and there's a lot of people that are involved in the steps. I definitely believe that this is something that we will need to be analyzing, especially there's a lack of cohesivity among CB procedures, among different standing committees and principals. So we'll basically just be needing to looking at exactly what is one cohesive and one unified and structured way that we can, let's say, obtain SRT reports data. What is one way that we can make sure that the entirety process of SRT reports and forms and submissions are taken through one step and one actionable work, rather than just look at the different, emails.
It's time. Thank you so much. I apologize for cutting you. We are moving on to the VPPRC candidates. This is a question for both of the candidates. We are going to start with Rahat. So the question is, how do you plan to support NMOs with fewer resources or less experience in PR and communications? You both have proposed enhancing IFMSA's social media presence. So what would be your unique approach to increasing engagement and expanding IFMSA's audience?
So thank you for the questions. So basically for the increasing animal presence and regions, first I will focus on two things, which is providing them with the resources they needed, also capacity building, because we need to build the base first for the NMO and region to can handle their PR skills, and also provide open communication with the regional assistant to make sure we are understanding their needs and their support. And regarding their presence in social media, as I mentioned in my plan of action, I will ensure to empower IFMSA brand through empowering NMO and region, through understanding their needs, and also through launching campaign that highlights story from their different region. And
thank you. It is time. Okay, Alpha, the same question for you. How do you plan to support NMOs with fewer resources or less experience in PRC? Both of you propose enhancing IFMSA's social media presence. So what would be your unique approach to increasing engagement and expanding IFMSA's audience?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. Regarding that, we have to understand what's the needs of the NMO. Like, first of all, the NMO should understand what's the PR and communications role, its functions. Or second thing is how to increase the social media engagement. I'm going to have a capacity building and maximizing the role of PRC regional assistants. like how to write like a journalist, like how to understand the attention spans of the social media, and of course the issue based on the NMO, because now we have our own algorithm of social media, so it's important to understand lots of all like how to create a campaign. I think it's important aligning with the external affairs as well.
Thank you. It is time. Okay. Now we are going to go to an individual question specifically for Dino, president candidate. It is the following question. What barriers to inclusivity do you see in IFMSA? Yes, so the question is, what barriers to inclusivity do you see in IFMSA?
I think that the biggest barrier is that sadly it has not been our priority. We always like to create these committees. We have intersectional FMSA, we have steering committee that's supposed to tackle these issues. But as long as this is not a priority, it will not be addressed properly. It also happens that we talk about these things from the position of privilege, where we should be actually taking input for those that we actually want to represent, the underrepresented. So I would completely change the approach when addressing this in the next term, and actually not come from the leadership to talk about this, but actually to come from the other side of things, from people who are actually experiencing these issues. And then we can, you know, form a committee form any sort of, and this committee needs
Okay.
a working plan as well.
Thank you. Now, this question is for VPM candidate Theo. What are your plans to engage less active NMOs, and how do you plan to collaborate with the regional directors for visibility?
Thank you so much for your question. I think it's really important to address non-engaging NMOs. I think we also need to understand and accept that not all NMOs priority is IFMSA. Some NMOs are very highly engaged in national levels, but not so much in international. And that's something that is totally acceptable and something that we should respect in our NMOs. But we have to make an analysis to see which NMOs actually want to be engaged in international level and help those, and use our resources carefully to help those by having one-on-one meetings, understanding their needs and what are their obstacles in engaging in IFMSA. And so, yeah, in those regards, I think the regional directors will play a crucial role by understanding their own regions as the main contact person for each NMO.
Thank you so much.
you.
Okay, this next question is for VPF candidate Vito. So the question is, bearing in mind that increasing IFMSA fees may limit NMO participation in GA or RMs and further burden NMOs, what would your plan of action be to help hosts ensure sustainability without the need to raise GA or RM fees?
The key would be the external sponsorship. I know that for now we have the EFF that must be updated. So the sponsorship would be a key that could give us more money and then decrease the fees, making the accessibility for the members of NMOs to participate more in IFMSA events such as GAs and RMs. So the ethical framework on fundraising must be updated, and then we are going to have more sponsorships. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. This next question is for Ahmed, VPCB candidate. The question is, how will you actually implement rather than just measure sustainability in SRTs?
Okay, amazing. So in my presentation, which the file has been sent, I really encourage everyone to check out. It's been sent on the NMO server folder. I have outlined specific criteria that we're going to be using to measure sustainability, and this will serve as creating a database for us to actually analyze and see, because sometimes there's some sort of mismatched in our statements. For example, we advocate for environmental health, but then there are a lot of emissions and a lot of costs and a lot of uneco-friendly measures that are taking place inside of events. So we'll need to begin with measuring in order to have actionable and sustainable practices implemented at those events. And we will need to follow up with that with SRT coordinators, as well as actually seek more eco-friendly methods and ways to conduct CB events and other initiatives as well. But it all starts with creating a database.
Thank you so much for your answer. I apologize for cutting you. We are moving on to VPCB candidate. Okay, so this question is for Alpha. Can you elaborate how you will ensure that IFMSA's participation in external meetings effectively contributes to its visibility and impact in the global health area? Okay, do you want me to repeat?
Could you please repeat?
Yes, of course. So the question is, can you elaborate how you will ensure that IFMSA's participation in external meetings effectively contributes to its visibility and impact in the global health arena?
All right. Thank you so much for the questions. Regarding these questions, I will collaborate to the VPE and the license officers to have a capacity building for the delegations regarding PRC. So in terms of, I will be not in the external meetings, they will be available to take the footage, the photos, and also creating a code that should be a live report, especially like for the statement in the X, LinkedIn, and Instagram, because the three social media is the biggest audience for that, and we can take or make a collaborations, especially during the external meetings event. We can ask for collaborations content with the other.
Thank you. Moving on, this question is for Kana, VPE candidate. The question is, how will you engage NMOs in IFMSA's external affairs and assure that their priorities are represented on the global stage?
Firstly, I believe we need to assess the needs of NMOs through baseline assessment and NMO reports, which are very valuable resources of information for us. Also, throughout the term, keep like open two-sided communication with NMOs. I plan to implement requests and feedback form through which NMOs could constantly reach out to the external affairs IT, LOs, as well as VPE. Furthermore, I also plan to create various spaces where NMOs will be able to engage and provide their inputs, engage them also in various consultations, because I believe whatever we do in area of external affairs, we always have to keep in mind that this is something that directly reflects the needs and interests of our NMOs. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. This next question is for President candidate Hannah. So the question reads, how do you plan to manage accountability within the TO, namely if concerns are raised about officials by NMOs, other officials, or SUBCO?
Can you please repeat the end of the question?
Yes. So how do you plan to manage accountability within the TO, namely if concerns are raised about officials by NMOs, by other officials, or by SUBCO?
Yes, thank you very much. So how would I manage it is that I would be very much first ready to speak with the respective official one-on-one and listen to them, hear what their thoughts are, and actually then approach the relevant party in case if it's SUBCO, another official or NMO, depending really where the concern comes from and what the concern is, and then be very open towards the NMOs, what the issue was, what were the steps taken, and what is the way forward. And mainly support the official in working on actually on the issue specifically and trying to make the next work of that official better by supporting them.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. This question is for VP PRC candidate Rahat. The question reads, How do you plan to promote the communication and cooperation between PRC trainers, regional PRC coordinators, and the VPCP?
Yes. So to enhance communication, I will work on building first channels that will have all the people that is related to this. Also, I will enhance communication by making more meeting and also understanding our current situation and what the problems and challenges each have, and also enhance our expanding our presence through more training and more capacity building to each region and also each PRC and also to expand our presence in Prague. I will ensure to understand more our challenges.
Thank you so much. Okay, this next question is for VPA candidate Rodena. So the question reads, how would you structure the Secretariat regarding governance, functions, and accountability mechanisms as mentioned in your candidature?
Okay, to approach the Secretariat, we obviously need a very comprehensive needs assessment of what the Federation needs in terms of Secretariat functions and bookkeeping, and then balancing that out with how much we can afford in terms of services and what is the available pool of services, and then creating different scenarios that would support the IFMSA's needs. This could look like, for example, having head of secretariat and then a contractual bookkeeper, or temporarily focusing on bookkeeping to alleviate the financial issues and investing in legal oversight while IFMC handles administrative processes, and so on. The importance would be here is to build accountability and follow-up and with the secretariat, and that means we need to be regularly reporting and putting monthly plans and action plans for the secretariat so that it's more intentional.
I'm so sorry for cutting you. Thank you. Okay, this question is for VPE candidate Rafael. So the question reads, regarding external partners, you mentioned your goal to expand relevant partnerships. How would you define these priorities and how would you implement it in practical ways?
Yes, so if elected during the elect period, the 6 months, I will review with the current past officials and with the report that have been written, all the partners IFMSA is in relation with, because the point of having partners is also what can we bring to these partners, but also what can they bring to us. And if we are spending time and energy with partners that in the end absolutely bring nothing to our students and our federation and our reputation, then I consider this as a loss of time and energy. And as we talk about the burden of so many things to do for the VP and other liaison officers in external affairs, maybe we can just try to reassess the most interesting ones for NMOs also.
Thank you so much. Okay. This next question is for VPCB candidate Ahmed. Could you further explain the trainer's performance assessment you proposed? And how would it be implemented in terms of procedures?
Thank you so much. That's a really nice question. Okay, so for the trainer's performance assessment, this will be something that we would need to analyze based on the learning indicators. For the whole SRT accreditation and quality assurance methods, we need a way to ensure actually are the training outcomes positive from the pre-assessments and the post-assessments of, let's say, the workshops. So one way that we can assess this is to see the learning curve, to actually assess feedback one-on-one on the trainers, to just ensure that there is more of a structured system on trainer feedback and trainer assessment, rather than just leave open spaces for feedback and open spaces for suggestions on trainers. This also will serve as a way of our own internal tracking of trainers' experiences and, perspectives on trainers as well.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for your answer. Okay, next I would like to ask VPF candidate Vito. Your question is, How do you plan to increase and promote fundraising through IFMSA alumni?
Sorry, the question was cut it for me. Could you repeat, please?
Of course, the question is, how do you plan to increase and promote fundraising through IFMSA alumni?
Thank you so much for your question. First of all, as I said in the previous answer, it's very important to update our ethical framework on fundraising to get more sponsorships. And by that, of course, it's very important to work with the VPE and the VPE IT and the allos, because then we are going to know which are the most relevant externals that we are focused on and could provide us a very good resource back. So I'll work hardly with the VPE and the VPE IT and the allos to see and to look for the externals who are most important and most valuable for us, and keep constantly contact with them via email and via online meetings. Thank you so much.
It is time. Thank you so much. Okay, this question is for both of the VPPRC candidates. We are going to start with Rahat. The question reads, how do you plan to streamline communication within the Federation to reduce the volume of messages and emails? So I will repeat the question. How do you plan to streamline communication within the Federation to reduce the volume of messages and emails?
Thank you for the question. So, regarding our current modern life, so the attention is very hard to be achieved. So it's very important to focus when we are sending our messages to be to the point, and also to understand that we need to understand our audience, and to make sure that when we are making our content and also the messaging, that is it's important for our audience and aligned with it. So to make sure for this, I will first make sure to understand the persona of our audience, then working on creating the content to be aligned with it, and to make sure to focus on the quality of the content.
Sorry for cutting you. Thank you for your answer. So Alpha, you have the same question, which is, how do you plan to streamline communication within the Federation to reduce the volume of messages and emails?
Okay, thank you for the questions regarding this, especially who has the email. We will have like internal communications capacity building, how to use email, like how to use properly, and especially to deliver message clear and not somehow really too long. Second one is we can upgrade the capacity regarding the tools that we have on email, like Google Layout, and as well the WhatsApp channel and the WhatsApp group, if they have like, actually it's like upgrading the capacity of the peoples that has the power to send a message and email on the server. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next question is for VPM candidate Dale. The question reads, President sessions are a key part of IFMSA's meeting, but sometimes the sessions may not always fully utilize the time or may struggle to stay relevant. How would you ensure that these sessions remain engaging and address the needs of all NMOs while making the most effective use of the time available during IFMSA events?
Thank you for the question. That was definitely an understatement in regards to the previous sessions. I think one of the main keys issues that we're facing is that we have never actually consulted the NMOs on the agenda of the president sessions, believe it or not. We're just kind of creating the agenda based on presidents and previous president sessions and what has been always there in the president sessions, but we never actually made an assessment. Okay, do we actually need those sessions, or do we put them there because they're just there? That is one, and I think we definitely need to work on our time management skills quite a lot. And so in that regard, I think NMO consultations in regards to the president session's agenda, but also kind of deloading a bit the agenda would make it a bit more engaging for the NMOs, but also more efficient and more effective towards the issues that the Federation is facing.
Thank you so much. Okay, this question is for Rodena, VPA candidate. The question is, how would you like to see IFMSA programs evolve during this term?
Okay, so one thing I really wanted to work on during my term as a PC is putting a more strategic approach to programs because they do operate arbitrarily depending on the different PCs and different VPAs. And then also working on the connection and filling the gap between NMOs and programs, and then also working to address the program and activity divisions within the NMOs, because we cannot expect sustainable and consistent activities if we do not empower the divisions that do create them. And unfortunately, the programs team does not currently function in that manner. We only support activities that do enroll, and we should be more proactive in that sense to build the capacities from the ground up to create divisions that are sustainable. Because when we compare NMOs that do produce consistent activity enrollment than others, we see that there is a consistent built structure and division that within the NMO that's capable of that.
I have to stop you here. Thank you. Next, this question is for both the VPE candidate, Kana and Rafael. So first, we're going to start with Kana. The question is, considering the repeated mentions of extreme workload and difficulty in balancing the needs of the position, how do you intend to tackle this factor and maintain balance while fulfilling the obligations of the roles? I will repeat the question. So, considering the repeated mentions of extreme workload and difficulty in balancing the needs of the position, how do you intend to tackle this factor and maintain balance while fulfilling the obligations of the role?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I believe there are multiple mechanisms. Firstly, we have to admit that EB positions are not sustainable. So in long-term run, we have to focus how we can differently shape these positions so they become more sustainable. In context of VPE, I believe capacitation of LOs, External Affairs International Team, and RDs is really important because if they are empowered and capacitated, the process for VP approvals and support and guidance would be easier. So that will also reduce the workload. Furthermore, implementation of various mechanisms such as master sheet related to approvals can also be implemented. And last but not least, on my personal side, I believe it's also important to use like skills that I have gained through these 3 years in this federation when it comes to like management and multitasking and prioritization of tasks. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Okay, Rafael, you have the same question. So I will repeat it. Considering the repeated mentions of extreme workload and difficulty in balancing the needs of the position, how do you intend to tackle this factor and maintain balance while fulfilling the obligations of the role?
Yeah, so first it goes with organization. It means personal organization, but it means also team organization. And as a previous external affairs general assistant, I think I understand how the internal team is working. Secondly, it goes with capacity building for all the members part of this team, because it's not just the VP. I think we really act as a big pole together. And once people are capacitated, I think we need more trust. We need more trust and less bureaucracy, less unnecessary approval. And if we can trust the people, let's trust them. That's actually team working, not checking and doing more trust. And also in external events, I feel that having co-head of delegation can sometimes help, as the HOD have to do team management, but also partners management.
Okay, thank you so much. Now this is for both the president candidates, so Dino and Hannah. We will start with Dino first. The question is, what is your biggest strengths and weakness as a leader?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Yes, I repeat the question. What is your biggest strengths and weakness as a leader?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. My biggest strength as a leader is not being afraid to make tough decisions. At the same time, my biggest weakness is sometimes prioritizing the process over feelings, which can sometimes turn a bit negative on the team. I would say this is the biggest strength and weakness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. You have the same question. I will repeat it. What is your biggest strengths and weakness as a leader?
Thank you very much. I would say the biggest strength as a leader is that I do consider myself quite a good listener. And by listening to others, then I can better support them to actually showcase how they can lead as well. Because in the end, I would say we are all leaders. As a weakness, I would say I do sometimes run out of social battery. And I am aware of that. And that's why I need my few hours of sleep every night. So that also means I can be here in the morning.
Thank you so much for your answer. Okay. We will proceed. This is a question for Theo, VPM candidate. The question reads, what do you consider the biggest challenges NMOs face when applying for or upgrading their membership status? And how would you address these challenges?
I'll take it one by one. Again, when we're having candidating members, I think the bureaucracy of IFMSA is quite a lot. We have the membership development assistant, which is the position within the membership IT, which is responsible with the coordination of the regional directors and the VPM to provide assistance to these candidating NMOs. But due to the large number of documents and the long process itself, it's quite difficult sometimes to navigate this process. So we need to assist them better and have a way forward to assisting the member, which can be, as I said in my candidature as well, the membership follow-up committee. The same can also be said for upgrading NMOs. They have the 3-year period, but during those 3 years, we have the reports on the upgrading members and we are following up with the regional directors, but I think those efforts can definitely be increased and we can all have more efforts.
Thank you so much. Okay. This next question is going to be for Alpha, BPPRC candidate. So the question is, the IFMSA website is a key platform for communication. What plans do you have in mind to improve its functionality and attractiveness for members?
Okay, thank you so much for the questions regarding the IFMSA website, because the website is the main platform which should be the most accessible to be accessed by the members. So regarding the functionality of the website, every time we post on the website, we can have like cross-posting on the Instagram and the LinkedIn as well. Like maybe we will have like something regarding like how to navigate the website, as long as we will improve the website itself with the website platform assistance regarding like how to navigate the website, especially like the frequently asked questions, which is we are currently receiving a lot of questions.
Thank you so much. Okay. This next question is for VPA candidate Rodena. So the question is, you want to support activities that have been enrolled. How will you support NMOs that do not enroll many activities?
Okay, so the answer for that is the follow-up to my previous response on programs, is that we need to be more proactive with the support of the activity divisions themselves. We have a huge issue with capacity building of programs with our workshops using their value and being heavily overlapping with one another. So my point would be to introduce positions to the programs team that focus solely on supporting national activity coordinators, whether they're VPAs or PSDTs, and then working actively to build up these divisions the same way we would approach standing committees, capacity building, development strategies, follow-up, support, and from there we will see a much better streamline in activities from these NMOs to the programs and then the programs implementation into NMOs through different projects that are relevant to them locally. So this
Thank
would be
you
my
so
main approach.
Time. I'm sorry I had to cut you off. Okay, moving on. This question is going to be for Rafael, VPE candidate. Which barriers and challenges have you found in the EAIT? How do you aim to address them if elected as VPE?
Thank you. That's a really interesting question because we don't talk enough about international teams, even though those people are working in the background, in the shadow all year long. We see the officials, but we don't see them enough. And there is report of those people if you want to read them. I think the main challenge I've seen when I was, especially when I was general assistant, but still this term, is that we have a lack of engagement of our external affairs international team. For instance, other international team, if you take the regional team, they have one meeting where they can meet all together, the regional meeting. That's their main event of the year. For the external affairs international team, we don't have one thing, one event when we can all meet up. So it's kind of hard to bound the link between all of those people to foster collaboration, which is the most important in the team. I think that's one of the main difficulties. So it goes with.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Okay. This next question is going to be for Hannah, president candidate. So the question is, what are your plans to move forward in the Secretariat transition and to ensure long-term stability regarding Secretariat and legal tasks?
Thank you so much for the question. So step number one would be ready to follow up on what is currently being done, the update of the Secretariat framework, and then hopefully this term there already would be search for employees of the Secretariat, starting with head of Secretariat. On the finances side, we do hope to contract bookkeeper, at least partially, or accounting firm to support our finances. And legally, we do not currently have one dedicated law firm as we used to have in Denmark. So that is something to also have legal advice that is going to support us throughout the term when needed. So yeah, those would be the main three ideas for the Secretariat.
Thank you so much. This next question is for VPF candidate Vito. The question reads, how do you think that the financial procedures can be improved in IFMSA, namely reporting?
Could you repeat the end, please?
So I'll just repeat the whole question. How do you think that the financial procedures can be improved in IFMSA, namely in reporting?
Thank you so much for your question. First of all, it's very important to evaluate with the VPF, with the actual VPF and the VPFIT, what things they think are they consider it to be improved, and by that, taking that into consideration, improving the process. Not only that, by asking the animals by the animal server, by a form, for example, how do they think the animals' opinions on the operation guidelines and the internal operation guidelines regarding finances. By using that, we can improve our process in finances and all over the process. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on now to Kana, VPE candidate. Your question is, what are your plans to make the work of IFMSA external delegations more visible to our NMOs and members? And how would you involve them in the follow-up of external meetings to ensure sustainability of our advocacy efforts?
Thank you so much for that question. So first, where I think things can be improved is capacitation of delegations. So we have to fully implement the external affairs pre-capacitation programs that should focus not only on external affairs related skills, but also topics related to external meetings, and also capacitate delegates on more practical skills. So how to deliver a statement, how to write a statement, how to contribute to policy brief, and etc., involve them in every aspect of these preparations. Furthermore, I believe our advocacy plans can be more impactful and more specific because a lot of delegates are not aware how to actually implement them. So I think that's also something very, very important. Empower them and like follow up with them during the meetings, and as part of the follow-up, actively engage them in the reporting process and also like analysis
so
of the
much. The time is up. Okay. This next question is for VPCP candidate Ahmed. The question is, the majority of your CB experience is in SCOMI or activities related. Why are you running for VPCB in particular?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, being a standing committee director and interacting mostly with the VPCB as bylaw-wise, the VCP coordinates standing committee directors, is something that really inspired me to run for this position, as if I get elected, I'll be working one-on-one with each and every standing committee director to ensure that the EB decisions reflect their needs and their priorities. VPCB is a position that takes care of a lot of the internal initiatives and the internal work that is done within the Federation. I have broadened my experience in so many different varieties and within IFMSA, but I plan to even get more and more experience in general CB work. And I have also like big CB plans that I have benefited from SCOMI, from activities, whatever it might have been. And I believe that it will be
you off. The time is up. I apologize. Okay, this next question is for Dino, president candidate. So the question is, given the current issues related to the Secretariat transition to the Netherlands, can you explain how you intend to work on it and ensure a short and long-term stability of IFMSA?
Thank you so much for this really important question. I believe that first we need to be thankful to the current EB because a lot of this mediation process has already been done. So I feel like it should be just continued to run smoothly. I think what will benefit is that we don't have any more 30 officials from I don't know which year being registered as official representatives, which will give more autonomy to new EB. I also, as EB elect, we should really abide by our real rules to already start getting registered as official representatives, and then when the term starts we don't need to waste time on actually saying yes, we represent IFMSA. Then we need to seek legal advice. We need to know who to bring to the table. We don't need to be a lawyer, but we do need to know who to bring to a table, which is an important difference. And at the end of the day, we need to really be familiar with...
This is time.
Thank you.
You so much for your answer. Okay, this is for Rahad, VPPRC candidate. Question is, if someone would describe IFMSA's social media presence at the end of your term, what would you want them to say about it?
Thank you for the questions. So regarding our social media platform, I will hope at the end of the term to be a representative of what IFMSA visions and goal, and also to be a platform for youth to see what they are interested in, and also what are the problems and challenges they are facing, and also a platform that connect youth, and also a platform that raise their voices, and they can a platform that when they a platform that will encourage them to share more their presence, and also a platform that will be a call of action for all youth. So basically,
Okay, thank you so much for your answers. This will be the last intervention. So last intervention from the EB candidates. This is your chance to make your... That's not mine. Okay, this is your last chance to make an intervention, meaning this is the last round. We will not ask more questions. This is your chance to make your closing statement. We will first start with the candidates online. So we will first start with Vito, VPF candidate.
Just know how much time do I have?
Yes, so it is 45 seconds, just like the other times.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Well, IFMSA family, I'm so happy to be here and so happy to you all hearing me. And as VPF, if elected, I will commit it myself to IFMSA finances and transparency and accountability to all NMOs and to all of the regions, our very diverse regions. And I will take into consideration all the different types of inputs from all of the regions because we are made of more than 130 animals and more than 120 countries. So it's very important to know every single opinion from you all. So if elected, I'll promise to commit it myself as a very good VPF for you all and committed to IFMSA's finances and sustainability.
That's it. That's time. Thank you so much, Vito. Next, VPCP Ahmed, closing statement, 45 seconds.
All right, thank you so much. I believe we're at a point in our federation where we're working on so many different things, and we can, throw around words of sustainability and, new ideas and innovation and new specific things that we want to implement. And I do believe us as executive board, we will be working on so many different things in our different disciplines, whether it's CP, externals activities, finances, members, etc. But our work is also about the work we do with NMOs, the work we do within the TO. That's something that usually is not seen and not talked about enough within elections. So I planning on working towards, not only bettering the exact CB aspect of my line of work, but also towards a future-proof IFMSA, future-proof federation where the EB, TO, NMOs all have a space to actually contribute.
Okay, it is time. Thank you so much. Okay, next, the VPA candidate, Rodena, closing statements, 45 seconds.
Okay, thank you so much. So I would like to use this time to kind of emphasize what my focus as VPA would be. Obviously, the past period has brought to light our current legal situation, especially in terms of our relocation to the Netherlands. So I just want to highlight that my priority elected to make sure that we address our legal issues comprehensively to avoid as many liabilities as possible and to always keep you informed with regards to the Secretariat, the RTOs Association, and then all related legal repercussions that we might be facing or how we can improve our legal compliance to Dutch law. And then I would be focusing on improving programs to make it closer to you as our NMOs, and then generally working on improving our administration and reporting, and then always remaining transparent and accountable.
It's time. Thank you so much. All right. And now we proceed with the candidates that are in the room. We will start with Brahad, VPPRC candidate, 45 seconds of closing statements.
So 4 years ago, PRC has changed my life, and I owe it to give this magical experience to other people and to enhance their presence and their goals. So that's why I am applying to this position, and I'm committed to bring all my work and all my power in this to enhance and raise youth voice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alpha, VPPRC candidate, closing statements, 45 seconds.
Thank you so much. Okay, so as a media geek with the background of journalism outside of medical schools, and now we are living in digital era and with AI and enhancements. So we must uphold our value and brand tone with the empowerment of our members, which is the NMO, by embracing the inclusivity with the communication strategy guideline and improving the privacy of the data to minimize the data breach. And also as the VPPRC, it should be a collaboration and intersectional with the other divisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Rafael, VPE candidate, 45 seconds, closing statement.
Yeah, so I'm happy. I'm happy because I think I presented everything I wanted to. And if now you're still not convinced by my vision, maybe I'm not the good VP candidate for you. And that's okay. I've been NMO president and I know that sometimes candidates are good, but you just don't align with their vision. That's fine. But if you understood and agree with my vision of IFMSA external affairs, just know that I will act with dedication and professionalism and honor to represent rightfully this federation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We continue with VPM candidate. Theo, you have 45 seconds of closing statement.
I think there is a lot to be said here, but I would just prefer to keep it short. Our membership has been through a lot the last decade, and it is time that we are starting to listen to our NMOs and what they're facing, so we can make this federation more aligned with its members. You, our NMOs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we move on with president candidate Hannah. Closing statements, 45 seconds.
So first of all, just thank you for the opportunity to be in IFMSA for a while and be here in front of you as a candidate. This GA and all of this experience again assured me in my motivations that I'm not done yet. IFMSA gave me a lot over the years, and I'm more than ready to support everyone and represent our members, mainly give them the chance so that IFMSA gives everyone a lot as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we move on with VPE candidate Kana. Closing statement, 45 seconds.
Being a current liaison officer, I have experienced the power of IFMS advocacy firsthand. And I believe that our advocacy should be impactful. The thing is that I have been in this federation for quite some time. I've seen ups and downs, and I'm aware that especially after this term, the job of next VP it's not gonna be easy, and I do not expect it to be easy, but I'm ready to accept all the challenges. And I believe not only in myself and my vision for this federation, but I believe in us as a federation on what we can do together in terms of advocacy, global health, and student representation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we move on with Dino, president candidate. Closing statements, 45 seconds.
Thank you so much. We are at the crossroads, considering that the next term we are drafting a new strategy and we have many issues regarding Secretariat and other things mentioned, and we really need a strong leadership. In my time in IFMSA, I have worked closely with members from all 5 regions, and I know how they feel, I know what they're thinking, and now I am ready to leave the direct work with members and actually bring this love on the other side of the curtain and fight for you in the executive board. If you believe in a leader that is transparent, accountable, and leads with empathy and is not afraid to make right decisions at the right time, never forgetting NMO's best interest, then please believe in my vision as well. And thank you so much for giving all of us the chance to present our candidatures.
Thank you so much. And with this is the end of the EP debate. Thank you so much for the candidatures and thank you for the NMOs attending. Okay, I'm not sure if someone knows if the VPM is on her way for president sessions.
Oh, yeah, is Grace here? Okay, amazing. Two things. Today we found out that Cameo has the loudest alarm in the world. That is one. And the second, we have a 15-minute break, everyone, until the next session of presidents. So be back at 10:55 sharp.
I apologize.
Sharp.
Let's take a picture of the table.
Okay, amazing. 10:55. Reminder, 10:55. 15 minutes break. Please don't be late.
Line candidates, we are going to take the pictures. So be ready.
Ahmed, Habibi, can you text Rodena to join back, please, so we can take a picture? Love you. No. Ahmed is texting. Ahmed is texting. Come back.
Rudy. Rudy, let's take a picture.
She's not in the Zoom. She's joining back, hopefully. Okay, she's here. Redain, open your camera. You guys did not count down, by the way. Like, we didn't know you were taking the picture.
Did you take the picture? No, we didn't know. We at online, we didn't know.
A picture.
Could you?
It's okay, I think.
Hold on. Tash took the photos. You're in the background.
Ah, we were just like waiting.
Wow. Thank you.
We're gonna send it to Tash. It will be on Instagram. You can see it.
Okay, tag us. We'll repost.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, tag us. Thank you.
Fucking delicious. Talk to me. Don't read your mind. Think about your dumb face all the time. Living in your glass house, I'm outside. Looking in the big blue eyes. Did it just to hurt me? Make me cry, smiling through it all. Yeah, that's my life. You're in now. Sure. Now. Positive. I should warn her.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Could we please have silence in the room?
Could you grab my charger? That's in there. Amazing. Wait a minute. I'll grab what I need. You can take it over. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Okay. Can I take over?
Obviously, I don't think it's Martha.
Can online people hear us? Jen?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay, so I'm going to explain there's going to be a few changes in the...
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Jen, can you speak?
Hi, good morning in Istanbul. Can you hear us?
Yep. Okay. You are in system. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to explain you there's going to be a few changes in the agenda. Several members of the different points have reached out to me to have some changes. So I'm going to explain to you how is going to go the agenda now. First, we're going to have the update of the strategic plan, which is going to happen in 30 minutes. Then we're going to have the financial committee report. And then we're going to have the policy reform implementation. And at the end, for the last 10 minutes, we are going to have a space for the RD Europe to share with you something requested regarding one of the candidate NMOs that is applying to upgrade now. Okay, so until 11:30, you can start.
Yeah. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm just going to give you a quite brief, not brief, update on the strategy that we of the IFMSA. First, I need to give you some background information. Where are we? Sorry, technical issues. Okay, so first I'm going to start with a really brief background on how the strategy happened, what are we doing it, and how are we preparing us and preparing the next. Yeah, but it's not important now. I'm giving the background, Tash. How the next strategy is kind of being prepared, or at least the baseline, so the next EBTO can work on that. So first of all, the IFMSA strategy is a document that lasts for 3 years. The last one was adopted exactly in Istanbul in August meeting 2022. It was a process that should have been developed in the term 2020, 2021, but because the lack of coordination of the leadership of the executive board of the IFMSA 2020, 2021, it got delayed 1 year. So the process of development happened during the term 2021, 2022. Ideally, in the FMSA, this is the first strategy that should be adopted, and then we have around 13 strategies in the federation besides the big one. We have 13, not 13, 12. So we have the five in the region, in five regional strategies, and we have 6 standing committee strategies, and we have 1 CBS strategy. So basically how it should happen is that the big strategy or the general strategy is adopted. And after the general strategy is adopted, the first year, the rest of the strategies is created. However, as this was not done during the term 2020, 2021, all the strategies were adopted at the same time. That is kind of nonsense, because ideally all the strategies should be aligned to the general one. What are we doing this year to prevent this? What are we doing this term to prevent this from happening again? I hope is that we are extending, or we are working in the internal strategies of the regions and the standing committees for 1 more year. So then it could be aligned later once the strategy 2026, 2029, 2019 is developed. So that's the background on the situation that we are found right now. It's also important for you to get engaged with the process of understanding and strategy, and also if you have like national skills on how to develop and implement a strategy, is also important for you as presidents to be engaged since the beginning, especially since the beginning of the creation of the new strategy, because in the next 30 minutes, 20, 25 minutes, I'm going to talk and explain to you. I will present different inconsistencies and unrealities that have been drafted in the current strategy that could have been prevented. I know that we are not, we don't have master. I mean, probably there are people with masters in business administration here, but I know that most of us we are not. So basically, a lot of the problems of the strategy are because it is bad drafted. Finally, I will share a copy of this tracker with you after this session, so you can have a proper or a better follow-up or understanding of each one. Basically, the strategy is divided in 5 pillars. The first pillar is sustainable administration. The second is organizational structure. The third one is external relations and visibility. The fourth one is IFMSA meetings. And the final and the fifth one is organizational culture. So let's go with the first one. The first one is divided into goals. So let's talk about the goal of expanding the IFMSA Secretariat in the workforce. Sadly, some of these indicators are unachievable because they depend on having IFMSA employees and having IFMSA staff, and also understanding their satisfaction through their term, and also the evolution of satisfaction through time. We don't have employees. The last employee that we have in Denmark, we only have 1. And sadly, the IFMSA is not the best boss ever, because we don't have satisfaction surveys. We don't have documented meetings where we talk about the well-being of the employees, etc. So in terms of the employees, sadly, that's unachievable for this term. We are working to make, we're going to actually get like this more structured for the next months for us, but as we don't have employees, we cannot fulfill the 2 points. Then there was expansion plan of the Secretariat presented by the past BPA during the August meeting 2024. As this is not, and this is the type of problems that we find, that the indicator does not reflect the quality of the content. So the indicator only says to have an expansion plan, and the expansion plan was presented. The expansion, that indicator is achieved. However, we're not going to talk now about the content, because the content is missing a lot of quality. However, the indicator itself is achieved, and we are kind of working to make this better. The third part of this is talking about the digital and the physical archives. This is the digital archiving is the responsibility of the Vice President for activities, and our main role, especially with as President and then as VPM, because it's kind of connected, is the VPM to make the digital archive more accessible and make the NMOs more aware about the existence of the archive. And in terms of the VPA should be the one coordinating it. This has not been a priority for the past months. However, as President, what I have started is the archiving of the internal governance documents across the standing committees and regions. So with the support of the general assistants, we have been collecting the regulations of the regions and the standing committees since 2014. So we are creating a digital resource archive only of the regulations of the standing committees and each one of the regions. Thank you for all the general assistance, because at the end, until now, we have collected more than 90 documents, and that's great, because then we can actually know and track the changes that we have had in our internal governance through time. Finally, I will follow up with the physical archive. Currently, we have 2 places where our physical archive is located. We have some boxes in the old Secretariat in Denmark, and we have some boxes in an office in the World Medical Association when we were located there. So ideally, we will move it to a storage box in the Netherlands until we find a more sustainable solution, because the Amsterdam Medical Center don't have any space anymore for us, because we say we don't want it 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Anyway, next point have already been covered by the BPF in the finance session. This is probably one of the most important pillars that we are having for the strategy. That the main goal is to actually present a financial report and to get it adopted at least on the March meeting 2026. This is really connected with the bookkeeping and the tracking of the finances of the Federation that the BPF has been doing. However, we have found a strong limitation is the amount of bookkeeping companies that want to work with us. However, we're still in search, and yeah, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about this, and hopefully we will put some order at least in the financial report of our term, because this is also that is quite hard, as usually in associations the staff or the employees are the one that last for years, and they are like kind of the institutional memory. They help with this, but right now, as we're only the executive board, we don't. There are like 6 financial reports that have not been finished, and we cannot do much about them. Okay, the pillar number 2 is the redefined organizational structure. So the first part is about the IFMSA, like the prioritization systems in the IFMSA structure, alignment, and interactions. This is basically an analysis of the global priorities and the regional priorities. We are following an analysis conducted by the past 2 years on how the global priorities and the regional priorities interact. There were some changes on the past August meeting on the structure of the global priorities. However, we remain with a really strong question, and is how the global priorities align themselves with different priorities that we decide to have in the Federation, mostly in the regions, and that's something that we still need to discuss for the next four. We have conducted some consultations to the NMOs through the NMO report the past term. So we are also analyzing those results, but the biggest question that we still need to not answer, but analyze, and then it will be like a discussion from the GA and the regions, how to actually connect the global priorities with the regional priorities. We have things that have requested, that have required to be developed in past terms. As you can see, 70% of officials and their assistant report successful interactions and lack of discrepancies with the framework. So we don't have actually a framework of how is it? We don't actually have this framework of prioritization yet in the federation. And as it has not been developed in the last 2 years, we don't even have a baseline consultation on that. Also, this is really important. If you are still in the federation after the October 1st of this term, please remind the executive board to make a baseline consultation on a lot of the things that they want to change in the federation, because we haven't conducted baseline consultations and we are asking for change. We are asking to monitor what has been the change implemented. And as we don't have actually a baseline on how we started in the federation, and then we don't have an annual, let's say, consultation and tracker of these measurable data, is really, really hard to measure the change. So I trust that you NMO presidents will make the executive board accountable, and you will say, don't forget to collect the baseline information on the strategy, because we cannot measure the changes. Then the second one is about the empowerment and clear understanding of roles and responsibilities. This is connected on how the information in the IFMSA internal, let's say, operational side flows, how we can ensure that the officials and the assistants are trained and are receiving enough information in their handover process. The only, let's say, tangible, this is more as the responsibility of the vice president for capacity building, and the president in terms of the handover. The most tangible outcome has been a document that has all the baseline tasks of each one of the officials, but this term we develop a concept that is called the IFMSA Academy, and it's being still developed and is still being developed, but ideally this will work kind of an online academy to create sessions that can be useful for future generations and also inside the IFMSA, especially with administrative and IFMSA information itself. Also, this is another one of the problems, and this is a great indicator to understand it. And they say that, again, reporting effectiveness and usefulness of work. If we haven't measured this before, and if we don't have a baseline, how can we actually track if there was an improvement? However, a lot of the things or a lot of the indicators have been also asked to the international team and the team of officials. The tier one is about accountability of the IFMSA. The tier one. So as you can see, a lot of unachievable objectives. Why? Because an assessment of the usefulness, objectives, and requirements of all reports should be presented at the IFMSA General Assembly. And then there should have been created a methodology on how to at least align reports in the IFMSA, how to report in the IFMSA. There was an analysis or a gathering of information during the term 2022-2023. However, until this term, that was the last time that this point of the strategy was touched. So if there is no methodology of reporting, if there is no